A deadly man-made virus, Captain Trip, ravages the world's population. A number of survivors immune to the virus gather in Boulder, Colorado, USA. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I'll be reviewing The Stand, Episode 1, The End. This is the reboot of the original miniseries from 1994. And this episode was extremely confusing. Uh, it doesn't follow the linear timeline of the book, so it pretty much starts right out in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, like I stated before, and that's at the towards the end of the book is where that happens. So this was very confusing. We start out in a church. People are doing body disposal in Boulder, Colorado. And then it flashes back to 5 months before that, where you get to see the plague spread and people, actually, you don't even really get to see the plague spread. You just get to see a bunch of people sick. In this one town, there's a guy who's, I can't remember what his name starts with. It's Harold or something like that. And he's a creeper. He's straight up a creepy character in this, and I don't know if he's supposed to because I really haven't read the book. I started to years ago after I watched the original Stand, but I never finished it. So this guy's a creeper, though. He literally rides to his ex-babysitter's house all the time, apparently. I don't know if it's every day or not, but it's all the time, and he looks through a hole in the fence and peeps on her, basically, and this dude's super creepy. And the babysitter, again, yeah, these characters were very unappealing. I don't remember any of their names and stuff because it just wasn't a good episode. I mean, you get to see her go through the grieving process and trying to help her dad out while he's sick, and then she buries him. So we get all that, but then there's flashbacks within flashbacks in this, and the whole thing was very confusing because then we jump to another guy who's in the custody of the CDC, and they won't tell him anything. He's being held for 3 days without a phone call, anything, and they are like, hey, listen, everybody is dead. We need to do tests on you because we need to figure out why you're immune to it and other people aren't. So, they already start out with knowing that people are immune to it. And so, he agrees, and then they take him to another facility after the first facility is compromised with a person who ended up catching it. And, the whole thing, this... We see things in this episode that literally happen at the end of the original miniseries. And then we also don't see that at the same time. There's a point, if I remember correctly, from the original and from the book, people do travel together, but then there's two factions that are vying for, power, and they're getting ready for a war. If I remember correctly, I can't. It's been a long time since I've watched the original Stand, but they it's basically good versus evil, and they turn around and they each go their separate ways to each faction, and this doesn't seem like that happened, especially with the two characters from the flashback. Harold and his babysitter. They end up at the same place, and you also get to see things with her and the guy she ends up being with, which isn't the guy who traveled with her. So he's all mad about that, but you really get the sense of where the second place of gathering is going to be because they show pictures of girls they were on strip clubs, and things like that. So it was very odd. Everybody's calling these people, but they're already at one of their final destinations, Boulder, Colorado, or the other one. And it really didn't make a lot of sense, and it was because of the fact that they didn't follow a linear timeline on this, because you also get to see, again, there's, like I said before, there's flashbacks and flashbacks. So we get to flashback to the guy who literally panicked and ran out of the facility instead of locking it down and keeping the virus from spreading to the whole entire world. So we get to see that, and we also meet the bad guy too, right in the first episode. So they literally, show you a ton of stuff in this first episode, and they even introduce Whoopi Goldberg as the 108-year-old woman in this, and you really don't understand her a lot. She tells this girl to find her in this place, and then asks if she can remember it, and they're like, sure, but then they never see her even try to go there. They never show it. So honestly, the title of this episode, the ending, is really appropriate, as they show you the end of of what's going to happen in the miniseries. But at the same time, again, they don't. Like, there's at Boulder, Colorado, there's the guy who traveled, Harold. He's there, and he's kind of like not supposed to be there, I guess. He's not like a good guy. He's putting on a front for people. So he should have already gone to the other place to gather with other people. So I thought that was really kind of weird and interesting, I guess, of the way they did it. But it just, this episode really didn't work. Not for me, at least. I would honestly give this a, I don't even know. This was an attempt at rebooting the original miniseries, and it failed in this episode because they revealed too much instead of starting out with the plague like the original one did. The original one starts out where the facility gets compromised, and a gate guard literally freaks out, grabs his family, and then runs through the gate so it can't close. So that's how you get the plague, that kills like pretty much everybody in the world out, in the original one. And this one just really, it just failed at that because there was flashbacks and flashbacks. There was too much that they're trying to introduce, and they're like in the middle of the book or something like that, because they're already at one of the end destinations. So yeah, I would honestly give this like a 4.5, maybe 5 at the most. I mean, I can't even justify a 5. I would say honestly like a 4.5. It just, to me, I was confused. I was confused about quite a bit that happened in it, and yeah, I mean, it just, wasn't very good. I probably won't even review the rest of this. The next episode, I believe, comes out tomorrow, and I was going to try to catch up, but this first episode was just like, forget it. It dragged on too long. They're an hour each, and I think it's supposed to be 9 episodes, and it just dragged on. I felt really like, I wasted my time on this. So, 4.5, I would say. If you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and subscribe. And also leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear what you thought about this first episode. If you've watched the second one or not, let me know. I appreciate it. Take care for now, everybody.